Welcome to 6th grade health. We are going to be looking at our health book pages 100 to 107. And I know that that's more than we normally do, but as you may have seen in one of the other videos, I think today, I've been talking about how we are going to be doubling up some of the stuff. This is one of the lessons that we're going to double up. So we're doing pages 100 all the way to 107. So there are two quick checks, one on page 104 and one on page 107. So I want you to do both of those on paper. There's the health worksheet 7 that you're going to do. And for homework, you do CCU 6, A all, and B numbers 1 through 11 on paper. That can be on the same paper with the quick check if you can fit it all on there, okay? We also have another helicopter bird segment to listen to about the brain. So I'm gonna quickly go through what you're gonna be reading, just teach what you're gonna be reading, and then I'm going to let the CD, Uncle Bob Divine, talk to you. This time I'm not gonna stand up here and just look like a statue, okay? I'm gonna go and sit so you can just listen to the rest of it. And when it ends, I'll come back, give my closing remarks, and we'll close the video. So this should be your last video for the day, so exciting. But as we talk about, we just talked about with the nervous system that we've been learning about, how that's our body's communication system. You have short-term memory and long-term memory, and when you store something in your long-term memory, then it is available for you to recall, okay? So there's some things that I have in my long-term memory, like my very first address, 8710 Edison Street, Thornton, Colorado. I don't remember the zip code, but I do know that. And our phone number was 303-288. Now I have forgotten the last 4 digits. I have it somewhere, but I did know my phone number. And so with that's okay. So it was bothering me, so I paused the video. 303-288-6408 was that phone number. Not that you would call that, because I don't even know if it's connected anymore. And I don't know who would answer if it is. But the cerebrum stores that memory, okay? And so when you have things that you memorize, it gets stored either short term, and so if it's short term, you memorize it, and it's only for a little bit of time that you remember it. And then there's long-term memory, and it's something that is reviewed over and over and over again, okay? Your muscle has memory, okay? That's what we're going to be looking at next. The cerebellum is located at the back of the head below the cerebrum, and it's to help you keep your balance and coordinate your movements. So it helps with, just walking. It helps with brushing your teeth, tying your shoes, eating. When you learn to do something for the first time, or the first few times, your cerebrum went through every movement for you and sent that to the cerebellum and said, this is what we need to do next, and this is what we need to do next. Oh, we didn't do that right. We're going to correct it. We're going to do it this way. And so learning maybe how to ride a bicycle, or as when you're a baby, how to walk, how to roll over, all of these things that are learned. Your body now, your cerebellum, stores those in a memory of things that they know how to do, skills that you can do. And so then the cerebellum, then the cerebrum says, oh, we're going to ride a bike. And the cerebellum already gets all of your muscles ready to do what it's supposed to do, okay? Your spinal cord is a bundle of nerve fibers and it's at the base of your neck, or base of your brain is the top of your neck. And it's extremely important because the spinal cord, if it is severed or if it is cut or damaged, it can lead to death. It's one of those things that's a very serious injury, is to the back of the neck. But God's placed it right there and surrounded by the protective bones of your spinal column, and it's specifically there to help protect it. And so we have the spinal cord's main job is to carry message between your brain and other parts of your body. We have these reflex actions, and so that is when something happens that your spinal cord says, oh, this is hot. We don't need to send that message to the brain. We just need to send it back and say, it's hot, move your hand. And so that quick reflex, and so you can remember it's a reflex as we talk as something that you've heard before. The reflex action is that quick movement that it's done even faster than it can carry a message to your brain and come back. And so it really protects you from that danger. There are some more complex reflexes, like blinking your eye when a bug flies near it, jumping at the sound of a loud noise, which I'm very adept at, coughing when something's been swallowed incorrectly, sneezing. Those are brainstem reflexes. And so those reflexes are processed by the base of the brain instead of the spinal cord. And that's a sign of a healthy nervous system. When those work properly, that's a sign that your nervous system is working correctly. Okay. Oh, I missed a quick check on 102. Okay, we're gonna add that. Okay, these aren't very long. This one's 5 questions, and it's a who am I, so they're very short answers. You've got your peripheral nervous system, which this name is not up there. That's okay. Involuntary functions, senses, motor functions. The nerves are responsible for all of that, and they're all part of the peripheral nervous system. The peripheral nervous system is the outside of the brain and the spinal column. Okay, the brain and the spinal column are your central nervous system, but the peripheral is just everything else. So your pain receptors in your hand or along your body, anywhere that you might feel pain, heat and cold, and all of those receptors, they're part of your peripheral nervous system. They're the wires. The nerves are the wires of your communication system. It's like the wire that goes from the light switch to the light. That wire, when you flip the switch, you are sending a message through that wire telling the light, turn on. When you turn it off, you're doing the same thing. You're sending that message, turn the light off. And so that's the same idea inside your body. Your brain, your spinal nerves and your cranial nerves. So spinal nerves are the ones that are along your spine, so down your neck and down your back in the center. And there's also 12 pairs of cranial nerves, which branch directly from the brainstem. And so there's 43 pairs of nerves divide again and again to reach to all parts of the body. So these nerves, there's pairs of nerves. So each pair of nerves controls sending messages and receiving messages. So it's a pair. So one of them will send the message and the other one receives messages. And that's how they work together. And so your brainstem controls the involuntary muscles and activities of the body. You don't have to tell yourself to breathe. for your body, for your heart to beat. These things happen if you go and you exercise, or you're walking and you're starting to get short of breath. You start to intake more oxygen without thinking about it. That's your body's reaction to needing more oxygen, is just to take more in. It's something that is involuntary. You don't have to be thinking, oh man, I need more oxygen. I need to, okay, breathe. Okay, breathe. No, that's not how you have to do this, because God has designed our bodies to do some of the many things involuntarily, so that we don't just fall over and pass out or die because we didn't remember to tell our body to do those things. So there's, lots of things like digesting food, and your body does that automatically if it's working properly. There's sensory nerves. The sensory nerve fibers are help inform you about things around you. And there's certain things that, like your hands are more sensitive than, say, your elbow. You brush up against someone and you hit something with your elbow, you may not realize what you have touched with your elbow right off. But if you were to touch something with your hand, you would probably know about what it was. It wouldn't maybe not know exactly what it is without looking at it, but your hand has a better idea of what things are. That is why people who cannot see, people who are blind, can learn how to read Braille, and that's those raised dots that they can put their hand on, and they can it's as if they can see with their hands. It's really neat how that's even something that God has designed before we were even needing that. And so that's something that it just amazes me, how much God understands and how much he did before that affects us now, that we wouldn't have even known we needed, years ago. Motor nerve fibers, your brain and spinal cord send orders for actions through motor nerve fibers to your muscles. Okay, so this is where your muscles are sent those messages to say, okay, this is what we need to do. This is what we're, maybe if you play baseball, if you have played baseball, you're standing there with a bat, your brain is sending, your motor fiber nerves are sending messages to your muscles saying, it's coming, it's here, swing. And so, that's something that your body is, you get used to hearing and feeling that those fibers, those nerve fibers that really just help you in every area. You have your information center, a light touch. Oh, I kind of went over this a little bit. So knowing what something is, you pick up a handful of sand, if it's dry or damp, cool or warm, if it contains small shells. And that's where some parts are more sensitive than others, and that's God's design your hands for that. Your fingertips are the most sensitive. Your nose also, your olfactory, your smelling receptors, they send messages to your brain. Your brain identifies the odors, and so then there's different things that you may smell, and it either tells you that, oh, that's good, like some baking bread or cookies or something. Or if you smell smoke, you know that there's possible danger. If you smell gas, you want to get in the fresh air immediately. There's so many things that our nervous system tells us and can protect us from. And then there's the section on taste buds. You've got sweet receptors, sour, salt, and bitter receptors through all of your taste buds and your mouth. And so your tongue has most of them, but even your cheeks, the roof of your mouth has some. And there's different places. The interesting thing I found when I looked at this was that before any food can be tasted, it must be moist. So if you dried the tip of your tongue and put some grains of sugar on it, you wouldn't taste them until it started to dissolve with the saliva. If the saliva, once that came out, it would start to dissolve and then you could taste it. And so that would be definitely an interesting thing. And then the apple and the onion, if you try that, let me know how that turns out. So you've got a quick check, page 107, quick check on 104, and a quick check on 102 to do. And then the homework and the health worksheet 7, I'm going to turn on Uncle Bob, and we'll let him finish out this health class. Oopsies. Sorry. Wrong button.
Brain. The electrical signals you are hearing are produced inside of me. If these beeps did not exist, you would not be able to move a muscle in your body, and you would quickly die.
Well, I'm sure my brain will find this powerfully interesting.
Uncle Bob, whenever you deal with a brain, you're dealing with the best and the most complicated electronic computer in the world.
The best computer in the world, huh?
Oh, yes, definitely. You see, if you were to build a computer that would do the same work that the human brain does, you would have to build one the size of the Empire State Building.
Wow, unbelievable. Well, how much do you weigh?
The human brain weighs about 3 pounds.
Mr. Brain, I keep hearing these beep, beep, beeps. You want to tell me what they're all about?
Yes, Uncle Bob. These beeps are electrical signals that operate different parts of your body.
Actual electricity, then?
Yes, that's right. It's actual electricity that comes from the brain. The electricity is small, anywhere from 5 millionths of a volt to 50 millionths of a volt.
Boy, that's kind of small when you think of a 1.5 volt flashlight battery. In other words, Mr. Brain, these electrical signals that you send throughout my body move different parts, like my fingers, my hands, my arm, my legs. Is that right?
Ah, that's right. You're catching on. Sometimes the beep sounds like this.
I see. So the beep is really a voltage that moves different parts of my body.
Absolutely. There isn't a part of your body, inside or out, that could move if I didn't first send an electrical signal to it.
Wow, even my heart?
Yes, that's right. Even your heart.
Well, Mr. Brain, I know this may sound kind of hard, but could you explain how all of this works?
All right, Uncle Bob. First, I'll tell you that different parts of your body send me important information. Your eyes send me information. So do your ears, your nose, and your skin. They send signals to me to tell me what's going on out in the world. Then I send electrical signals back to the muscles to move them.
Okay, now let's take, for example, my eyelid. How would that work?
Okay, Uncle Bob. The eyelid sends me a message. It says, I'm tired. I want to close. I get the message and send back an electrical signal to the muscle in the eyelid. It closes the eyelid.
Right-o. Now we know that voltage sounds like a low-pitched note, but do you have to keep the voltage on my eyelid muscle in order to keep it closed?
Yes, that's right. The voltage that I sent to the eyelid muscle to close it stays there until I get a message, and that message would be, I'm rested. Please open me. Immediately, I take the voltage off, and the eyelid snaps open.
Boy, but that's just the eyelid. There are millions of other things you're doing all at the same time, right?
Oh, yes, Uncle Bob. I take care of millions of bodily functions all at once. Quite a fantastic computer, huh? And of course, many of the things that I do for you, you don't even have to think about. I do them automatically, like helping you breathe.
Right-o. Now, some time ago, we learned that there's an electrical generator in the heart called the SA node, and that makes the pumps or the ventricles work. How many generators do you have in the brain?
All right, my inquisitive friend. I have 12 billion cells inside of me. The brain, each of those 12 billion cells is an electrical generator.
Wow, 12 billion individual electrical generators.
What's the matter? Does that boggle your mind?
Yes, I'm afraid it does. Mr. Brain, how do you produce the electricity from your 12 billion generators?
Okay, Uncle Bob, that's a good question. All electrical generators need fuel in order to operate.
Right.
My fuel is glucose or sugar and oxygen. I get it out of the blood that comes to the brain.
That's interesting. Glucose or sugar and oxygen, and it comes from the blood that comes up to the brain, right?
Right.
Okay, now, the electricity is generated in these little cells in your brain, some 12 billion generators, and we know the fuel is oxygen and sugar. Now, how does this electricity travel to the different muscles and glands in my body?
Okay, my electricity travels to the muscles and glands through nerve pathways. They're kind of like wires.
Okay, that makes it kind of simple. So your electricity travels on nerve pathways, kind of like wires. Okay, so the muscle or the gland needs electricity to work, right?
In order to run, a motor has to have electricity, and your muscles and glands are kind of like a motor. They move, and so the voltage comes to the gland or the muscle.
Fantastic. Just to think I couldn't even move my fingers, my hand, my tongue, couldn't talk. Well, I couldn't even focus my eyes or blink my eyelids. Well, how about walking?
All right, so you desire to walk. The brain knows this, so it sends electricity to the muscles and the glands in your legs. Now, the muscles and glands are very sensitive to electricity. Just a little shock will move the muscles, and you can walk.
Yes, sirree. And to think all of this just happened by accident or chance, isn't that too much to ask any intelligent person to believe?
Right, Uncle Bob. Electrical generating plants are designed by skilled scientists. But what does this say for my 12 billion electric plants?
Good point. It clearly tells me that your designer is greater than any scientist because he put it all together in a 3-pound package, something science can't do. His name is the Lord Jesus Christ, the creator of the human brain. Use yours well.
All right. Stop that before it starts the next one. Okay. Well, this should be your last class, and hope you enjoyed that as I did. And we will see you in the next lesson. So enjoy your evening.